Good evening. I see some of you guys are sticking around for the second round, so we're glad you're here. So my name is Becky Womble. Again, I'm the proud president and CEO of the 4-Star Accredited Chamber, and I'm proud to welcome you here to this candidate forum, and it's exciting to see the engagement that's here when it comes to our elected officials. So this is the Bastrop Votes Initiative, and part of this initiative is just really simple. It's to promote the vote. And so we do this in 3 ways. We actively register people to vote for elected office. And then we provide fair, impartial, and insightful information on candidates that are running for office. And then we host forums like this tonight so that you can hear directly from the candidates before you go to the polls on May 3rd for the election. Since launching this Bastrop Votes Initiative, this is now our 27th forum, and we've done them in person as well as virtually, and we're providing a valuable opportunity for voters to engage with those who are running for office. I have to mention that we have, for the first time, some sponsors. And so those sponsors are Community Impact, and so please give them a round of applause. They are our media sponsor, and as I shared with the previous people here at the forum, just a fun fact that we really started engaging with them in 2016. We actually took, I think, about $18,000, $19,000 in monthly advertising, a list of advertisers so that we could, encourage them to come to Bastrop. And so as of 2024, they are here with not only a digital newspaper, but as well as a printed one that goes to homes across the county. So that is your chamber at work for you. Additionally, we have Ringel and Breimer, PLLC, and the Bastrop Christian Ministerial Alliance as ballot box sponsors. So please give both of these supporters a round of applause as well. You know it is a historic time to be here in Bastrop. Would you agree? So with that explosive growth, we have all kinds of new subdivisions going in, which means new jobs and new companies coming to our back door. And this brings all kinds of economic opportunities to our area. The current population of the city limits is 11,121. That's what AI told me. And so, but as of 2023, they're saying that we should have a population of around 15,920. That's a 43% increase in the next 5 years. So with this growth, city leaders are already discussing infrastructure needs such as a new wastewater plant, proof that the growth isn't coming, it is here. And so these visionary leaders are needed at this time, and these forums are important so that you can make an educated decision on who you're voting for at the poll. So for tonight's forum, I want to tell you that the questions that you will hear were developed by a small committee of people. There's been input from citizens and generated through AI. It's my new favorite assistant. So I want to make sure that you understand that any questions that come from the floor have to be turned in after the 8th question is asked if you want them to be considered for questions later on the forum. After the 8th question, we just have to have a cutoff so that we can print the questions that you guys write out so that they can be legible. So, and we will not be able to get to all of them, but man, they give me a wealth of future questions for future candidate forums, so please submit your questions. But I just want to remind you that when you are writing your questions, that they have to be able to be asked of all 3 candidates. They cannot be directed at one candidate. Rude or inflammatory questions will be excluded. Questions of a similar topic will be combined so that we avoid repetitiveness, and then we ask you to please print clearly so we can read your questions. And to the candidates, please speak clearly into your microphones so the people in our audience can hear you, as well as the people that are watching online on Facebook. If you go over your time, we will mute your mics so that you do not exceed your time limit. Our goal is to finish at 8 o'clock. We didn't reach that last time, but that's our goal. But additionally, this forum is being recorded so that it will be posted on our Bastrop Votes website and will live on our Facebook page. So, to the audience, we ask that you please silence your cell phones. It's very distracting to the candidates, and that if you have to leave during the forum, we ask that you go ahead and just stay out in the hallway. And then so I want to introduce our timekeeper, Jackie Gabershak, who is our Bastrop Chamber Membership Engagement Director. So a round of applause. I would say she's a volunteer, but she was voluntold. She knows that. So, and then to Judge Dugan. He is the 423rd District Court Judge. Judge Dugan brings a wealth of experience to the table, having received his bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Texas and earned his law degree from Texas Tech. You already heard me say, go Raiders, if you listened before, last time. After graduation, he earned his law degree. After he earned his law degree, Judge Dugan started his career at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in Eastland, Texas, then served as a prosecutor in Travis County for nearly 2 decades. He was elected to office in 2008, and he will be moderating our forum in great professionalism tonight. So Judge Dugan has been a member of the Bastrop Chamber of Commerce since 2002, so please help me welcome the Honorable Judge Dugan to the podium.
I'm not sure about that professionalism. The last forum I gave one of the candidates 60-minute response, and I was like, it needs to be 60 seconds. So once again, just a couple quick disclaimers. I cannot publicly endorse anybody. I'm not publicly endorsing anybody. I did check with the Commission on Judicial Conduct that permits me to do this. They said as long as you're not endorsing anybody, so I'm good to go. I also did not come up with the questions, so if you don't like the questions, don't get mad at me. Get mad at Becky and her committee. No, they've always been good questions, very informative questions, and questions that should be asked of candidates. And so I appreciate that. Each of the candidates will be given a 2-minute opening statement, and then we will, on an alphabetical list, we will, ask the question. We'll start with the opening statements, and then we'll ask the question. There will not be rebuttals because there's 3 candidates. So, for example, the first question, each candidate will be able to answer that question, and then it shifts to who is asked the question first, the next question. So it'll become apparent with that. And thank you again for the timekeeper, because, they say judges can't multitask. We can't. And so, asking the questions and keeping track of time, that's way above my pay grade. So without further ado, we will have opening statements. Each candidate gets a 2-minute opening statement, and we will start with, no, you're quite all right. Willie De La Rosa, you may give your opening statement, sir.
Hello to everyone here tonight. It's a pleasure to be here before you to discuss our issues that are facing us with what Becky mentioned, the growth coming to our area. It's been coming, and it's coming, it's not going to stop. And the question is, how do we prepare ourselves for that growth and manage that growth? But I see a lot of new faces here in this room tonight that I haven't seen over the years. And so I'll just say I've been fortunate to serve the community for 27 years on the city council. 12 of those years I was mayor pro tem under 4 different mayors and served under 4 different mayors, and served 9 years on the Bastrop Economic Development Corporation. And I guess one of the highlights of that, I was given the task of the sole negotiator to bring Buc-ee's to our community. And the city council didn't have no involvement in that. It was BDC took that task on by itself, and Terry Orr and Steve Mills were part of that board, and they asked me would I take that challenge on, and I did. And in summer of 2009, and by 2015 we had an agreement with Buc-ee's, and basically the rest is history. So, but that's probably all I'm going to say right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, Mr. Harris.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Becky and the Bastrop Chamber of Commerce, for hosting this event. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and those who are watching online. I am honored to be running for mayor of Bastrop in 2025. First, I would like to sincerely thank these gentlemen for being up here and running this race with me. I appreciate their dedication and courage along with me to take on this endeavor. Let's see, I truly appreciate the years of experience and leadership and the love for Bastrop that they bring to this race. We may be running the same seat, but I see us all as people who care deeply about our future. I'm 43 years old. I'm a father of 3. I'm a lifelong Bastrop resident, and for the last 5 years, 5 years, almost 6 years, I've been dedicated to helping with the city's infrastructure and development. And I've been on the planning and zoning, serving the last year and a half as the chair. I've been involved in community events, helping out with the events that the city has put on. I've worked for the city of Austin for almost 21 years, with the last 5 years serving as supervisor at Hornsby Bend. What makes me different in this race is the perspective that I bring. I am young enough to connect with the next generation and experienced enough to understand and respect the legacy of those who came before me. I believe I can bridge that gap between the old and the young, tradition and progress. We need leadership that's ready to take on the real issues facing the community, like affordable housing that fits Bastrop character, good paying jobs that keep our residents working where they live, and thoughtful development that protects what makes Bastrop special while preparing us for the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, opening statement, Mr. Northcutt.
Hello? Yeah, all right. I'd like to thank each of you for coming tonight. You know, you're the reason why we're sitting up here. We would have questions for you, just like you have questions for us. A little bit about myself, just real quickly. I was a police officer in Houston for about 15 years. I have an Associate of Arts in Mathematics, and I have a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. I worked for the University of Texas Police for 32 years. And of that 15, I was in Houston. Some of my experiences in Houston as a detective in 1982, John Seeley had a baby kidnapping, and I worked that case along with a task force of other officers. And that was in July of 82. And in December of 82, actually, Dr. Conrad was the vice president for MD Anderson Hospital, and a person walked in and shot him 6 times. And so I worked a murder in 1982 while I was down there. I'm a crime prevention specialist. One of my expertise is in workplace violence and violent behavior in the workplace. I personally believe that what you should expect from me is honesty and integrity, and you should expect from me to be able to have a relationship with you in which I'm here for you, I'm able to listen to you, I have time for you, and
Thank you. All right, the first question then will go to Mr. Harris. After the resignation of the previous mayor, if elected, how do you plan to lead the city of Bastrop forward with integrity and regain the trust of the community?
All right, well, I can say that prior to me stepping down from chair of the P&Z, I was already starting to do that. Leading up to the mayor's resignation, with everything that was going on with that, I noticed and saw the impact that it was having on the citizens and the meetings. So in that time, I was taking time to counsel with the mayor as well as council members to really try to get us back on track and focus on the things at hand. Also, when I started, when I was chair, I took it up on myself because some of that trickled down to the planning and zoning meetings with the citizens, how they came in with a little contention. And, you know, just building that trust and bringing about comfort. I'm heavily involved in the community, so I interact with the citizens. I have great rapport with the council members, and so through constant communication and workability and getting them to understand that we are here for the people, I feel that I can strongly and successfully get us to that point.
Thank you. Mr. Northcutt, the same question. After the resignation of the previous mayor, if elected, how do you plan to lead the city of Bastrop forward with integrity and regain the trust of the community?
Well, for one thing, I've lived in this county for 31 years, and 17 that, I was detachment commander for a small little police department that's here, the University of Texas Police. And so in talking to citizens and in setting an example for other people, number one, honesty is probably the mainstay. I'm a deacon in my church. I've helped young people, especially kids. I was an Awana commander, a whole lot of different things, but honesty and integrity are like a main staple, and what you should expect from every police officer and what we should expect from our people that are up here and wanting to serve you. In terms of my wanting to serve you and I see myself as just one of you, a person that lives here in Bastrop, that every day when I see a person I'm talking to, this is a very friendly community compared to even Houston where I live, and people care about one another. And in particular, my name is Ward, and Ward basically in the English language means to care about people, maybe even to care about people more than you care for yourself. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. De La Rosa, same question. After the resignation of the previous mayor, if elected, how do you plan to lead the city of Bastrop forward with integrity and regain the trust of the community?
Well, if I'm elected in the first week, I'm going to meet with every council member individually and talk to them and ask them what they expect of me as mayor and what I expect of them as a city council member and what their goals are, because I'm going to make an impression on them that this city right now at this time is thirsty for the council to get back to doing the duties and that they were elected for. And that's my plans to start the week one, and like I said, meet with every member, and if we can all come together and work for the common good of the people, that's my direction I want to go.
Thank you. All right, question number 2 goes to Mr. Northcutt first. To be a successful council member, particularly a mayor, one must build consensus among council staff and citizenry to achieve major objectives. Give an example of how your consensus building skills have resulted in a positive outcome, excuse me. Positive income?
Income outcome, yeah.
Positive outcome.
Yes. You know, money sure comes in handy in an economy like this today. So how would I gain consensus? You know, if you just think about it, a police officer is one of you. And so, you know, I have a child, I have a wife, I have a family, I have a church. And one of the things that happens even for a deacon is sometimes you sit down and you look at people and you say, what are our problems? How can we solve those problems? Even the bare word for, say, that a mayor has to do in a city like this is, if you look at it, they have to resolve. A common paperwork that comes out of city council is resolutions. And you don't get to resolutions until you take the time to go to people's doors, knock on them, talk to them, and show them that you're a person too. As a mayor, I would want to be able to have time to have office time so that I could listen to you and also gain a consensus with the people that sit on city council, so that if there's an issue that has two sides principally, you can come together and have middle ground.
All right, thank you. Mr. De La Rosa, same question. To be a successful council member, particularly a mayor, one must build consensus among council, staff, and citizenry to achieve major objectives. Give an example of how your consensus building skills have resulted in a positive outcome.
I think I'll answer it this way. I think over the years, I've worked with a lot of council members, a lot of mayors. And like I said a while ago, if there's issues that we need to resolve, like I said, in the first week, I'm going to meet with everybody and kind of, you know, get them on track to say, you know, this is what we are. If we have a disagreement, let's take it behind a closed door and hash it out and come to some resolution. But the bottom line is that we're facing is get on board. We got a lot of issues, a lot of growth issues, a lot of challenges, how we're gonna pay for them. Get behind the city manager who's driving this train if we let her. And all we gotta do is get behind her and support her and offer our support and move forward.
All right. Mr. Harris, same question. To be a successful council member, particularly a mayor, one must build consensus among council, staff, and citizenry to achieve major objectives. Give us an example of how your consensus-building skills have resulted in a positive outcome.
All right, so I'm going to revisit my time on planning and zoning, more so the last year and a half as chair. During that time, I shortly became chair after Sylvia became city manager. When she became city manager, I immediately sat down with her and started meeting with her, wanting to know what her objectives was and mission for our city. Over time, those meetings went from once a month to bi-weekly to multiple times a week, just really trying to garner a great relationship and a working relationship and understanding her goals and mission and my vision for Bastrop as well. And throughout that time, I have developed relationships with the different departments, the planning department, the facility maintenance department, the police department. And again, I'll go back to the relationships with council. I've spent a lot of time talking with them as far as thinking about and planning out what we're going to do for the city, as well as making sure they're having the proper relationships in front of the citizens at the meetings. And again, I am heavily involved in the community. You can see me out at many events volunteering. And so in that, I am bringing in the community and garnering those relationships and letting them know that I am just one of them like they're one of me.
Thank you. All right, question number 3 first goes to Mr. De La Rosa. On a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, how would you rate the city's current relationship with the business community, and how can it be improved?
I'd probably rate it probably in the 3 to 4 range. And that can be improved?
How can it be improved?
Well, I'm going to say that, I don't know what part the council plays in saying and working with the business community downtown, because there's different avenues that we face. Years ago, BDC funded Main Street program, and now there's no DBA, and so, but I think the city needs to work closely with the chamber, and the business community as we go forward.
All right, thank you. Mr. Harris, same question. On a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, how would you rate the city's current relationship with the business community, and how can it be improved?
I'd say probably about a 3.5, right? Because I don't want to say it's great, then we have no room for improvement. So I think, though, what we can do is have better communication, right? And as far as it being businesses here, I think we have a lot going on. We have the aerospace, we have BDC constantly bringing in jobs. We have our school district is expanding, so we have jobs there. I know it doesn't, call for businesses per se, but there's a lot of people who are married that are teachers, and so those are things that are going to affect them. And I think that if we have a thriving and inclusive Bastrop where businesses can flourish, innovation meets tradition, and sustainable growth creates opportunity for everyone, we can move that from a 3.5 to a 5.
All right. Mr. Northcutt, same question. On a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, how would you rate the city's current relationship with the business community, and how can it be improved?
Well, I'm going to take a little difference here between my two opponents, and I have to say that I'm somewhere closer between a 4.5 and a 5. Look, I see Carlos from the Toyota company sitting back in the back, and I just recently, as a senior citizen, I went to the Mardi Gras Festival, which he has helped to develop and put on, and it was extremely successful. It was just outstanding. We had so many people here that visited, and when I heard the statistics of how much money was generated for local businesses based on a month of basically Mardi Gras in Bastrop, that's awesome. This is an exciting time to be in Bastrop. It's a family place. It's a place where people enjoy. They love growing up here, and they love having their families come and do activities. This center that we're sitting in is an awesome building that the community and businesses use, and they bring on presentations. I've seen some awesome ones even this month and going into last month, including things like the whole churches from all over the area met in here and talked with all of the ministers, Ministerial Alliance. It was so awesome, and it brings people together, businesses together.
All right, thank you. All right, question number 5. First goes to Mr. Harris. On March 31st, there was a town hall meeting on the North End Prairie development. Give us your thoughts on this development.
Am I not? Okay, here we go. All right, so I think the concept is a good idea, but not for that area. The North End, for as long as I can remember, and again, I grew up here, so as long as I can remember, the North End has been through a lot of neglect. And so the thought and the idea of things not being properly taken care of on the North End for those residents, and then all of a sudden a developer coming in and wanting to throw something new that's going to heavily impact that neighborhood is not, doesn't sit well with me. And also the amount of houses is a high density development, and again, throwing that in the backs of everyone's houses that have lived there for years and have endured the flooding coming from the east side of 95. It's really been impactful. Again, I think it's a good idea, but not for the downtown area. If they were to do something, it should definitely fit the demographics of what's going on in the neighborhood.
Mr. Northcutt, same question. On March 31st, there was a town hall meeting on the North End Prairie development. Give us your thoughts on this development.
Listen, we do not have enough housing, period, in Bastrop. Right now, if you go out to our county areas, you'll see people living in trailers. And there is not enough housing available, period. Some of, even my area where I live, literally, some houses are being built in ditches. You know, I think that we should have responsible pro-growth that takes in consideration our people, our families, the ones that already live here. How is that going to be developed in the future? But I also would like to see, even from our, I would have liked to have seen it already, the fact that even our downtown areas are not even as well developed as they could be. We have some poor areas, we have some bad streets, even downtown. It's almost a shame that, to some degree, that while we are doing growth and while our expansion is just exponential, you know, just to go back and look at where our citizens are right now, the ones that live here, you and I, but you know, even a police officer and a firefighter can't even afford to live in this city. I've talked to many of them. They live in other places, not in Bastrop.
Thank you. Mr. De La Rosa, same question. On March 31st, there was a town hall meeting on the North End Prairie development. Give us your thoughts on this development.
Well, I was at that meeting, and I spoke out against that meeting. I'm against that particular development in that area because under the current B3 code, it had no minimum lot requirements. You can't go in there and put that many structures on a little piece of 4-acre property that's got flood and drainage problems. So I'm glad to see that the city's taking steps in creating a minimum lot requirement now. But here's my deal. And I offered a solution that night to the city, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody on the planning and the city council that adopted that in 2019. but the city has some responsibility and exposure on this because they adopted that code with no minimum lot requirements. So the city needs to step up, and I offer the solution that the city needs to step up, buy that piece of property, and do whatever they can do or not do with that property because of the drainage issues. And those people get their money back. The city has a piece of property, and you make the neighborhood happy because they don't have to worry about a development like that in their backyard again.
Thank you. All right, the fifth question goes to Mr. Northcutt first. With discourse among the council in the last year in the news, how do you think the city of Bastrop is viewed by the Central Texas region?
It's probably in catching all the news articles and those sorts of things that have been out there, in looking at what different people feel about how responsive the city council is, and how some of those things occurred. You know, a mayor has to be a leader as well as a manager. In order to be a really good leader, a mayor has to be able to bring people of multiple differences together and talk about things, and talk about them in a civil manner, and talk about them like you and I are talking to each other, not against each other. In order to gain a consensus, if you can gain a consensus on a city council like this, it's a quintessential to just be able to look at people and have them realize, you know, we even teach our children to be adults and to act responsibly and to talk with one another and to agree on topics where they can, and then to respect each other and talk to each other civilly as well.
All right, thank you. Same question to Mr. De La Rosa. With discourse among the council in the last year in the news, how do you think the city of Bastrop is viewed by the Central Texas region?
I really couldn't tell you what the other cities think about the city of Bastrop, but you know, my deal is what's happened's happened, what's in the past, it's in the past, and all we need to work on is how we move this city forward. And we need to do that, as, like I said, is as a group, come together and move forward and forget about the past, because you keep dwelling on the past, we'll never be able to move forward.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, same question. With discourse among the council in the last year in the news, how do you think the city of Bastrop is viewed by the Central Texas region?
Well, I'm not sure, as Mr. De La Rosa said, how every other city views it, but I can only imagine. It wasn't a good look for us. Could it have been handled better? Most definitely. And so just the way it was handled, it didn't give us a good look. It gave us a negative connotation down here, like we couldn't take care of business, and it overshadowed the work that we were trying to do. Now, I think I know, like I say, through conversations with council and the former mayor, I know things were slowly improving, maybe not as fast as, you know, others would have liked, or at times it was displayed in front of the citizens. But I think that over time, those who may have thought something bad about what was going on or had any ill feelings are starting to see that we're getting back on board with where we're going and what we're needing to do. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, question number 6 first goes to Mr. De La Rosa. Many developers and citizens believe that Sylvia Carrillo Trevino is the best city manager that the city has had in decades. Do you support her leadership and efforts? Explain why or why not.
Well, I'm probably the only one at this table, maybe in this room, that can make the comment I'm fixing to make. I've lived here in this city longer than these two have. But I was here when we went to a city manager, city council form of government in the middle 70s. And I remember the first city manager was named Bill Cox. And I've served under a lot of and worked with a lot of city managers up until recent. And one of them was a close friend of mine, Mike Talbert. He worked here twice. But by far, the lady we have in place now, Ms. Carrillo, is by far the best we've ever had. And I'm going to make this statement, and everybody pay attention to what I'm going to say. She doesn't need us, we need her. and we need her leadership and her guidance to take us through this growth process that we're staring and experiencing every day. So there's no doubt in my mind we have the right person here in the right place to do our job for us.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Same question. Many developers and citizens believe that Sylvia Carrillo Trevino is the best city manager the city has had in decades. Do you support her leadership and efforts? Explain why or why not.
So I can't speak for all of the city managers previously, but I know as far as the ones that I've known, I would say absolutely without a doubt she is. Like I said earlier, I'll just give you a little background. The first time I saw her, I was sitting at a city council meeting, and she basically laid it out to council who she was, what she was about, and, you know, what she represented and what she wanted to do to help Bastrop, right? And I was like, okay, I can get with this lady. And so she sat in our P&Z, and shortly after the meeting was over with, I said, hey, we need to start meeting. I really wanted to get a breakdown and a better understanding of what our codes were, because they really weren't coming off the correct way to me. And so she's been great in helping me get an understanding, answering questions. I can say may not always agree, but she's very workable. And we're both solution-driven people, and it's very nice to have someone around like that. I can say that, since then, we've met multiple times. She's very open-minded. She loves Bastrop. She loves the people of Bastrop. She shares the same love and passion that I do. And I definitely tell her that she needs to stick around for a very long time. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Northcutt. Same question. Many developers and citizens believe that Sylvia Carrillo Trevino is the best city manager the city has had in decades. Do you support her leadership and efforts? Explain why or why not.
I really haven't had a great deal of time with her. I have met her. I've talked with her. I know that she has been able to successfully answer some concerns that I had as a citizen. For instance, one of the things that I appreciated about her was that when contracts came up for trash service, she made sure that, they were going to impact older people in our community a great deal because the contracts were going to go up significantly. And she was able to negotiate a contract that I thought was very efficient and affordable. And so I was impressed with that. I have limited knowledge of every other thing that she does, but I can tell you that in meeting with her, she seems to have a positive attitude. She seems to, as Mr. Harris said, she seems to want to work with and meet with people and talk with people and gain consensus. And I think that's really important for her, especially since she serves at the pleasure of you people out here, myself, and the board. So what is our main job as a council? It would be to hire a person like that, and a person of great quality, whenever we possibly could.
All right, thank you. Question number 7 first goes to Mr. Harris. Bastrop has a rich history and is a popular tourist destination. When the Visit Bastrop contract comes up for renewal, do you support the renewing of this contract at a decreased, current, or increased level of funding?
So I'm not going to sit up here and say yes or no to that without looking at that contract. But we definitely, once that happens, we need to review and see what Visit Bastrop is doing for Bastrop, how well they're helping us out, if they need to be able to, if we need to move monies around, if they need to look in other areas to where they can bring more visitors here, or if they're not doing their job and we need to cut back. That's a conversation to be had once we have the Visit Bastrop budget and are able to sit down with them. Do I think Visit Bastrop does a good job for Bastrop? Absolutely. They are helpful in advertising. I know they're not the only method of advertising and bringing people down here, but the more that we can have to get folks down here to spend money in our city to help boost our economy, the better. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Northcutt, same question. Bastrop has a rich history and is a popular tourist destination. When the Visit Bastrop contract comes up for renewal, do you support the renewing of this contract at a decreased, current, or increased level of funding?
I would actually go for an increased level of funding. In terms of judging exactly the contract, just as Mr. Harris said, I'd probably have to look at that contract. Look, I only had 1 year of law school. I didn't become a lawyer. And my simple things that I knew from contract law means that, you know, when you have a contract, you have a promise. You have a promise to perform. And there has to be acceptance, and there has to be different elements to that contract. And people, like the ones that sit on your board, should be able to look at contracts and decide whether those things and the performance of that group is meeting or exceeding your expectations. I try not to pay more for something when I'm less satisfied. And when you're more satisfied with something like the performance of a group on a contract, that's a plus. It's a plus for every one of us. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. De La Rosa, same question. Bastrop has a rich history and is a popular tourist destination. When the Visit Bastrop contract comes up for renewal, do you support the renewing of this contract at a decreased, current, or increased level of funding?
Well, to answer that question, I'm going to say we are a tourist attraction. Years ago, we were just a little old town on the Colorado River, and Bastrop can really sell itself. I mean, go down to the Colorado River. You got boating and canoeing. Go down to Fisherman's Park. You have different things you can do down a splash pad, a skate park, and stuff like that. So, you know, Bastrop's not a hard sell to anybody. But I saw where in the budget this year, the council cut back their budget on Visit Bastrop. And before I make a comment whether I'd do away with it altogether or cut the budget or increase it, I'm going to sit down in the first week and visit with the city manager, because the budget process is getting ready to start, and see what her ideas and thinking are as we move forward.
All right, thank you. Question number 8, we'll first go to Mr. Northcutt. With increased population growth, infrastructure such as roads, public transportation, utilities will be vital. What are your plans to improve or expand infrastructure to meet the needs of a growing Bastrop?
We have to go to work at planning. We have to carefully look at, you know, even in difference to Mr. De La Rosa, I'm not at all sure that when we brought Buc-ee's in, that there was enough traffic flow that you could get. In fact, as a police officer, I almost see one major wreck there almost every week. The traffic all collides. We have 95. We have 21, we have 71, all colliding, just in the back seat of an elementary school, and a simple place where kids go and play soccer, and all of that all at once right there. It sure is great that right at the same corner is also the sheriff's department, because they regularly working traffic there. No, I don't think our streets, our roads, and even our traffic flow, our infrastructure, our very infrastructure, I think we could have done better in the past. And I think that the people up here, the one you hire, the one you decide should be on council, I think you have a place in this too. Think about who it is that you want to serve you.
Okay, thank you. Same question, Mr. De La Rosa. With increased population growth, infrastructure such as roads, public transportation, and utilities will be vital. What are your plans to improve or expand infrastructure to meet the needs of a growing Bastrop?
One of my main focuses on the issue of traffic and the traffic flow. If we go out to 304, between 304 and Highway 20, with all the development that's happened here, years ago we tried to put in, and I see it's happening now, the road from Walmart, which is Agnes, out to 304, and behind Lowe's, try to open up that road. If not for only one reason, for emergency purposes only. If there's an accident in that part of the world, how will emergency personnel move traffic in that area? But we need to do something, because I believe we're a little behind the 8 ball on moving traffic, and because the congestion out there is bad any day you go out there in the evening. But what it's going to take some communication with the county. It's going to take some communication with our state rep, and I have a relationship with those two people, And like I said, after I get elected, those two will be getting a phone call and see what kind of, if there's any federal money that can assist us in the city as we take care of those traffic problems out there on Highway 304 to Highway 20.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Same question. With increased population growth, infrastructure such as roads, public transportation, and utilities will be vital. What are your plans to improve or expand infrastructure to meet the needs of a growing Bastrop?
All right, so I think we all need to remember that infrastructure is more than just the roads. It's our utilities, right? Our water, wastewater, our power, and other amenities that we need on day to day. So I know we're dealing with a whole bunch of traffic around here. Our town was not ready for it. We have a big growth, but with that growth, also, we need to make sure that our treatment facility can handle the amount of people that is here. With my almost 21 years of experience in wastewater, I can tell you, like, that is definitely important, right? You can say that you can boil the water if something goes wrong, but we can't tell y'all you can't flush your toilets, right? So we need to make sure that we have the proper piping and infrastructure to handle that. And that's why we don't need a lot of density in downtown either, because our system down there just is not equipped for that. Now, when it does come to the roads, there are avenues and connection points that we can look at and alleviate. It takes a strong working relationship with the county, looking at the Campo plan and developers as well. We need to look at ways of, when development comes, how they can alleviate the traffic and not just put a road there and road improvement in front of that development, but also how can you alleviate the traffic for us before we start to build. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Ms. Becky has an announcement about questions from the floor.
So we do want to allow some time for questions from the floor. So if you want to submit a question, this is the time to do it, because after this question, when we start asking question number 9, we will not accept any more questions. So if you have something, please push it to the middle aisle. Jamie will come down the aisle and pick up those questions, if you have one. So if not, we've got a list of questions we can ask. So you guys can sit back a second, have a drink of water. How are they doing so far? Because, they didn't get these questions in advance. So just a reminder, early voting is April 22nd through the 29th. You can check out bastropvotes.com for times and locations. And then Election Day is Saturday, May 3rd. So again, to save time at the polls, please print out your ballot, look at it, study it. You cannot take an electronic device into the polling location. So lastly, I want to thank again our 3 sponsors, first-time sponsors for our Governmental Affairs Initiative, Community Impact, Ringel and Breimer, and then the Bastrop Ministerial Alliance. So round of applause for them, please. It's a bin up there.
It's been getting me this whole time.
We just thought you were nervous.
Look, that's what I was like. I bet they just think I'm nervous. I'm cold. Should have did like these gentlemen and wore a sports coat.
So also, again, I'm sorry if you are hearing repeats of these announcements, if you were here for the prior forum. But again, we are a business organization. But if you believe in our mission statement, we do have an opportunity for family or individual memberships. So you can come see me after this forum. I'm happy to sign you up. You can join online, or you can come see us at 927 Main Street in the heart of downtown. I think one of our newest members is over here in the front row. Just give us a wave. And then, do what?
2.
Oh, both of you. That's right. I'm sorry. So anyways, just a couple of dates I want to remind you of as part of our government affairs advocacy efforts. We have a State of the County on April 23rd from 8 a.m. to 10:30 at the new community center that the county has built at 15 American Legion Drive. So come see and hear firsthand what's going on with our county government instead of relying on next door. And then on May 7th, we have our 27th annual First Responders Lunch. This is a collaborative effort between all three chambers, the Bastrop, Elgin, and Smithfield chambers, with Blue Bonnet Electric as our title sponsor for that. We are trying to bless first responders with a $25 gift card, so if you would like to donate one, we're only about a third of the way to our goal to supply every first responder in attendance with a gift card. And then on Thursday, May 8th, is our best countywide mixer out at the Bodega on FM 1209. Again, a collaborative effort between all three chambers, and it is from 5:30 to 7. And then we have Glenn Shepard, a national HR guru, coming on May 13th right here in this room. And anyways, he's going to be doing a workshop on how to supervise people and lead a team. And then lastly, we are one of 15 cities in the state of Texas hosting the Governor's Small Business Summit this year. Our goal is 200 attendees, and so if you'd like to come, we greatly appreciate it. It'll be a lot of great information, and it's only $20 to attend, and the Bastrop EDC is the sponsor. So again, this is your chamber at work here in Bastrop, and so anyways, we appreciate your support. So once again, if everyone's turned in their questions, everybody got them turned in? All right, so no more questions from the floor. They'll come in, and I'll turn it back over to Judge Dugan.
All right, question number 9 goes to Mr. De La Rosa first. And it is about the Bastrop Chamber of Commerce. The Bastrop Chamber of Commerce is the largest business organization in the county, representing 800 members and 16,000 jobs. If elected mayor, how will you work with the chamber to support business?
It's a pretty good question. Only thing I can say is that, you know, I've known Becky since she's been here, and I was on the council when she first came here, when she first came to town, so we have a relationship, a good working relationship, and all I can say, I don't know exactly what their, you know, she just mentioned there what their mission statement was and everything, but if I'm mayor, she knows I have an open door policy to sit down with her and help the chamber out, because they take care of the business community, and that's and small businesses here in town or downtown is vital to our community.
All right, thank you. Mr. Harris, same question. The Bastrop Chamber of Commerce is the largest business organization in the county, representing 800 members and 16,000 jobs. If elected mayor, how will you work with the chamber to support business?
Sit here and support them. I think they do a great job of what they've been doing over the last, since Becky's been here. She's grown the chamber, grown relationships. Every year they have more and more different events. You know, just support them in however way, in whatever way that I can, so that, you know, they can get their job done.
Thank you. Mr. Northcutt, same question. The Bastrop Chamber of Commerce is the largest business organization in the county, representing 800 members and 16,000 jobs. If elected mayor, how will you work with the chamber to support business?
You know, listen, you can't be around Becky and not realize how positive she is for the city. And any mayor that we hire, that you and I go to the polls and vote for, really ought to be almost a cheerleader for Becky and the whole group. They make us shine as a city. It's almost like an extra set of icing on the cake. Her positive attitude, it just resonates. She brightens up a room when she walks in. She is awesome, and I would be honored to lift her up. You know, each one of us, even in, I mentioned I was a deacon. A deacon's normal job, if you look at the Bible and just open it up and say, what does a deacon do? He's supposed to lift up a pastor. And a mayor is supposed to lift up his city. We're supposed to try and put your best foot forward. And the way we can do that is with groups like Chamber of Commerce. It's just awesome. And I am so proud to have Becky be a member of this community, which I've lived in for 25 years.
Thank you. All right, question number 10 goes first to Mr. Harris. In light of the challenges faced by cities during the pandemic, what strategies would you implement to further prepare Bastrop for future crises, whether they be public health, natural disasters, or economic downturns?
So we have several groups here that that work with that, and Doggett now, I was going to say it slips my mind, but I'll say one of the directors is here tonight. We really just need to have some forethought on what could potentially happen. Be in tune with surprise diseases or outbreaks around the United States, and see how they can affect us. I know recently we had the measles outbreak, and fortunately they're trying to get they've been able to get a hold of it to an extent, even though we've lost some lives. But it's really just planning out and speaking with our medical, our doctors, school teachers, and again, those government programs or institutes that help with the emergency response, and just come up with a plan to with multiple scenarios, right? If we lose, if the schools have to be shut down again, if jobs have to be minimized, we need to have a plan of how we're going to support the city, and that would be with the food pantry, or again, with the school district as far as feeding the kids and keeping them educated.
Same question to Mr. Northcutt. In light of the challenges faced by cities during the pandemic, what strategies would you implement to further prepare Bastrop for future crises, whether they be public health, natural disasters, or economic downturn?
Wow. We've experienced so many here. The one that probably hit, the biggest disaster that hit my family was 2011. Everyone on my block lost their house except for myself, and my house was extremely damaged. There was no infrastructure. There was no electricity for 8 months. I had to live away in Wimberley, was the closest houses available at that time. There was not even enough houses when that fire hit. It was devastating. So all the people that I knew by name on my street, gone. It's just even now starting to build back stronger and stronger than it was before. You know, the city wasn't prepared for it then. Tahitian Village, where I live, you couldn't drive down the road to get out. There's only one major road getting out at the top. No additional roads have been made even since then. And that was almost 14 years ago. So, you know, I think that disasters happen. You might even be surprised, because I ran a police department here in your county. I know of, and I was on the Federal Joint Terrorism Task Force. That's kind of like a board. And so I've heard of several things that could happen to Bastrop at any given time, and management and cities, they had to plan for those.
All right, thank you. Mr. De La Rosa, same question. In light of the challenges faced by cities during the pandemic, what strategies would you implement to further prepare Bastrop for future crises, whether they be public health, natural disasters, or economic downturns?
Well, I'm first going to touch on that natural disasters, because he was correct. 2011, we experienced something we never experienced before or never imagined. But you got to put a shout out to our police department, our fire department, and our first responders for the job that they did. Now, going past that, to move forward, what we do in the future, we got to have a better understanding and a better communication between Bastrop, the city of Bastrop, and Bastrop County, because it's going to take pulling our resources together, and as far as if it gets into an economic downturn, to stretch those tax dollars. And by doing that, and like today, shout out to Butch Carmack, our new county commissioner. He's gotten with the city, and he's offering the use of his men and his equipment, and all the city's doing is paying for the materials, and he's doing street work for the city, and that's part of his job, because I've told people before, they forget about the city of Bastrop is in the county, and we pay taxes, and the only time they remember us is when they come in for an election. But it just takes an open line of communication between the county and the city when we face a disaster.
All right. Questions from the audience? Thank you, Ms. Becky. The first question from the audience, number 11, goes to Mr. Northcutt first. What is your opinion on the prospect of a rec center? Is it feasible?
You know, with as many people that we have coming in here, it's not only feasible, it's probably one thing that we have here in Bastrop is an excellent quality of life. The senior citizens center that we have supports older people and helps them to participate in everyday things that they probably wouldn't normally do, activities that they do together. You know, having a facility like that would just be like a quintessential for a town like ours. A town, you know, we used to have the state park pool, and so people would go to the state park, swim and that sort of thing, and locally even the YMCA would assist at getting people over there, and that's even open for such a short time in the summer. We need more activities because we have more kids, we have more people coming into our city, and yes, quality of life is the #1 value for a resident of this city.
Thank you. Mr. De La Rosa, same question. What is your opinion of the prospect of a rec center? Is it feasible?
Well, again, I can't tell you if it's feasible or not because I have to sit down with the city manager when we start this budget process, if I'm mayor, because for years we've been talking about a rec center. And Mr. Northcutt's right. When people move to our city, one of the quality of life issues they ask, what kind of recreational activities do we have for our youth and then our seniors as well. But and the bottom line is, it's always good to say, well, I want this, I want that, but what you got to figure out how you're going to pay for it. And the person that's going to guide us down that road is the city manager. Until we sit down and figure out where all these dollars are coming from, what our priorities are, set our priorities, and then figure out the funding for those priorities. That's the direction I'd take.
Mr. Harris, same question. What is your opinion of the prospect of a rec center? Is it feasible?
Well, my opinion about a rec center is that it is much needed here in Bastrop. And the thing about rec centers is that sometimes I think people think of them just for something for the kids, but rec centers are for the families. They're for the citizens. They're for all ages and walks of life. We can have a rec center that's established that has an indoor pool. You can have basketball courts, volleyball courts. You can have meet and greet areas. There's workout facilities that you can set up into your rec centers. There's a lot of things that we can set up into a rec center that accommodate for the city, and we can have a membership. And it doesn't have to be something that taxes the pockets, but if we have a well set up rec center that draws our citizens into it, then they will join, have a membership, and they will be able to give back to the city. It also can be just like the convention center rented out for things. The rec center, if it's big enough, it can be used for certain tournaments or different events for the community. So I think we need to find a way to make that happen. It's long overdue. I graduated from high school in 2000, and we needed one back then, and Smithfield beat us to the chase. So it is a long overdue and much needed thing, not just for the youth, but for the family and the older living citizens as well.
Thank you. All right, question 12 first goes to Mr. De La Rosa. How would you collaborate with Bastrop County to ensure that you're working together for a common goal?
Well, from what I understand, visiting with some commissioners and the county judge, I don't know what the relationship is with the current council and the county is. Didn't sound like it was at the level it should be. And like I said, I have an understanding with a good relationship with 3 of the county commissioners, precinct 1, 2, and 3, and especially with the county judge. So what I would recommend and propose as mayor, as soon as I take over, that the city council, the county commissioners court, and the school board meet in one room and sit down and talk about how we work together and help us achieve certain goals, pull our resources together to save taxpayer money, but how we can do all this, but it's going to take us sitting down in the same room, across the table from each other and hashing these issues out.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, same question. How would you collaborate with Bastrop County to ensure that you're working together for a common goal?
Well, I don't want to pull a repeat of Mr. De La Rosa, but the reality of it is that for far too long, the entities here that make things happen in Bastrop County have not worked well together. When I first got involved in 2019, I asked questions, right? Why are we not working with the school district? And don't do that. But I can say now things are good, and there's work going on in collaboration, and it is a fantastic thing. Now we need to get the county on board, and we need to get everyone to understand that what happens in the city affects the county, and what happens in the county affects the city. And so we all need to work together and get an understanding. And I know each one has their own vision, the city, the school district, the county, but we need to get together and collaborate and make our visions work together for the betterment of our community so that we have a strong, thriving county that stands out and maybe everyone else wants to be like. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Northcutt, same question. How would you collaborate with Bastrop County to ensure that you're working together for a common goal?
Well, actually, in my life here, when I first came here was in the 90s. And since that time, I have known every single chief of police of the city of Bastrop. There was a time when in the 90s that the police department went to sleep at 6 o'clock. There were 3 county officers driving Bastrop County at the time, and 1 DPS officer and myself here to respond to different things that happened. So you know what I did a long time ago, Judge Dugan, I know you are aware of this because I personally know lots of people that work in the county and serve in every department. Benton Eskew, I count as a friend. I know Sheriff Cook personally. I walk into the offices of these people that work for us in the county, and I want them to be sure that they know Ward Northcutt is also a person that is involved in my community. So whether it's a person that is a commissioner, whether it's a judge, Ronnie McDonald, one of my best friends, you know, you got to get to know the people in the county, and you got to get to know the people in the city as well. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, question number 14. This says 14, but it's 13. It first goes to Mr. Harris. What programs or infrastructure is there out there that's built for our youth, and what would you do to increase those as mayor?
So, programs that they have. Well, not sure of all the programs. I know the school is trying to work out some stuff with getting the students trades before they get out into the workforce. But I'll just say this. I think we need to have invest in our parks and start having diversity in our parks. There's a thing called STEM parks. That's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Those parks are designed for youth to go out and work with their hands or do mechanics. And we don't have enough of those in our community. I also think that we need to have a textile park, being that we're in a tech-driven society right now. We have tech all around us. There's a lot of kids who aren't going outside and playing because they're inside on their tech devices or whatnot. And so if we can have something to get them outside to find ways to play, that would be great. And as special needs parks as well. We really need those for our community so that those kids can have somewhere to go in a safe place and also be amongst kids similar to them. Thank you.
Mr. Northcutt, same question. What programs or infrastructure is out there that's built for our youth, and how would you increase those if elected mayor?
I have a lot of experience in particular with church groups. You know, some of our church groups have just some outstanding programs for kids. One that I was involved in a great deal was an Awana thing where people just simply open up the Bible and read it with their child. You know, in different areas here, we have some reading programs that are fantastic. Right in our own public library, some excellent ones that they come out and actually help kids get to know. You know, a person that is a kid and is in our school system, when they graduate through our school system, probably only about 7% of them can go on to college because they couldn't even pass the test to get into college in some colleges. That is so terrible, that we don't spend time with our own kids, that we don't spend time reading to them, reading with them, and having them read with us. Programs like this, I'm a product of being in scouting programs and that sort of thing as well. If you get a chance to read my bio, you'll see some of that. Our programs for our kids are essential for quality of life in Bastrop.
Thank you. Mr. De La Rosa, same question. What programs or infrastructure is out there that's built for our youth, and how would you increase that if elected mayor?
Well, for years, I don't know exactly what programs that the city currently has in place, other than what we have, the soccer program, we have Little League program. But I said, you know, down at the parks, we got, years ago, Mr. Harris could probably knows about this, but back in the day, the school used to open the gyms up to let people go play basketball. That's gone away. So I don't know what it is that we can do. I've said in my statements in my flyer that we need to explore more recreational opportunities for, the city needs to explore more recreational opportunities for our youth, but not only for our youth, but for everyone. But, because other than, like I said, the soccer programs, the Little League programs, there's no tennis programs, there's no golf programs, but we need to look into that, because right now we don't have much in the way of that much recreation other than what I just stated.
Thank you. That brings us to our closing statements. Each candidate gets 2 minutes. We will start with Mr. Northcutt. You may proceed.
You know, I'm up here as just a regular person, just like you, sitting there on the opposite side of me. And you know, as I started and what I talked about in the very beginning was about your need to be able to question us and us question you. That's a quintessential. Judge Dugan would tell you that a first-year law student learns that the Socratic method is such that the teacher comes in and questions the student, and then the student winds up questioning the teacher. And through that questioning, you learn better, and you are able to participate more. John Muir was the one that took all the resources, and he was the creator of some of our best national parks. You know, Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, some of these things we attribute to him. But you know, he was also kind of a philosopher, and one of the things that he said is some people live on the world and not in it. What does that mean? It means that you and I, we live here. We care about here. We breathe here. The city government is a breathing, living thing that you can be a part of and I can be a part of. It's my right to do that. I don't have the qualifications probably that some of these gentlemen have up here, but I have your best interests at heart. And you should have my best interests at heart. You go out and you hire the person that you feel will do this job best and will serve you best. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. De La Rosa.
Years ago, when I first ran for the city council, my pledge to the citizens and taxpayers of this community, I would be fiscally responsible with your tax dollars, work with the city to try to live within its means, insist on low taxes, and work toward affordable and reasonable utility rates. And that's the same pledge I have today. But what I am really today is I believe in basic services. And when I say that, start with public safety, whether it's police or fire. Good drinking water, not only to drink, to bathe in, to wash clothes, and especially as many schools that we have in town today for our kids to go in there and be able to drink clean water. And probably the other deal I want to talk about is streets. And I see where through the voter referendum in November that the city has taken some money from the half-cent sales tax from the BDC and put it into a street maintenance fund. And I'm hoping that, and I think the Public Works Director is going to do a good job on this if he has a 3 to 5 year plan, because it's going to create $15-16 million for him to go in there and repair the streets. Because I'm going to tell you what, I've lived in the north part of town for a long time. Linden Street needs repairing from Hill Street to Carter Street. Mesquite Street needs repair from 95 to Wilson Street. Water Street needs repairing very badly from the Masonic Lodge at least to Cedar Street. So those were the 3 streets that I see most of all, but I'm sure there's going to be a plan in place that'll take care of those issues. But like I said, I believe in basic services, and what I would stress to our city staff is when you come to work every week, say to yourself, what can I do to make our department more efficient and more customer friendly? And that's my position.
All right. Come on. Yes, all right. So first off, I want to again thank Bastrop Chamber of Commerce and Becky and her staff for hosting this event. Thank you all for coming and watching either online or in person. I want to first off address what may or may not be an elephant in the room in my closing. But as you all know, this term is only for a year. I want y'all to know I'm not here running for a year. I'm not here just to fill in a spot to maybe see what happens next. No, I am here to run for this year and the upcoming terms. Just so that you know, this is a big step for me taking to run for mayor. It's not like I'll get elected and have 3 years to prove myself. I have this 1 year to really show what I can do before I have to run again. And I'm letting you know that as a lifelong resident, someone who is deeply rooted in Bastrop and loves his town, that I'm here for the people. A friend of mine made me a gavel when I became chair that said "for the people," because that is who I am is for the people. And so, again, I just want y'all to know that I'm here for solutions. I'm here to bring the city, our county, and schools together. About preparing for growth without losing what makes us special, and ensure everyone in this community, no matter their age and background, has a seat at the table. We know that growth is coming, but the question is, will it work for us or against us? We need smart planning, strong partnerships, and a mayor who is not afraid to roll up his sleeves and get it done the right way, and I am your choice for mayor. Thank you.
I want to thank all 3 of the candidates. I want to thank Becky and the chamber, all the folks that work at the chamber. Y'all do a fabulous job. Thank y'all for putting on these forums. It gets the candidates out there for the public, and that is invaluable in my opinion. So I think Ms. Becky has a few closing remarks too, but I too want to say thank you for doing this.
So once again, I need to thank all 3 of our sponsors. Again, it takes money to rent a beautiful facility like this, and it takes a lot of staff time to organize this event. So again, Community Impact, Ringel Breimer, and the Bastrop Ministerial Alliance. And then again, I want to repeat, if you have any question about what our legislative priorities are, they are publicly posted not only on our Bastrop Chamber website, but also our Bastrop Votes website. It's a very simple 2-page document. You can see what the chamber stands for. So I encourage you to look at that and review it and know where your chamber stands. And then also, again, my staff rocks. I would put this chamber staff up. Go ahead, round of applause right there in the front row. I saw you. I would put this team up against any chamber staff in the nation. So again, Cornian Bailey, Jamie Haney, and Jackie Gabershak, and then Kelsey Owen that worked a little bit late to get some stuff done before she spent some time with her daughter who's here on spring break from North Carolina. Thank you.
Ask them to raise their hands so we know who they are.
Oh, raise your hands or stand up, chamber. So, and then in attendance with us is Dr. Christy Lee, and she is the leader and chair of our Governmental Affairs Committee and does a fabulous job. And so I need to thank her as well as our committee for their dedication to this initiative. And then to our chairwoman, Megan Webb, she had to slip out and get home and take care of some children. But I want to thank her as well as a dedicated board of directors who supports this initiative and truly every day makes decisions that benefit our business community, and they always have them in mind. So a round of applause for my board of directors. And then a very big round of applause for Judge Dugan, who moderated tonight. He made a serious forum fun and laughable at times. So thank you very much for being here. Yep. And then to you candidates, you guys did not have these questions in advance, and so you guys took them to heart and answered and gave very honest answers to the people in attendance and online tonight. So thank you for being up here on the hot seat. And then again, since December 15th, we've done this forum, and this is the 27th forum we've done. And I think that this is a very impactful initiative that makes a difference when we engage with our elected officials. It is a replicated initiative all across the state, and that makes us very proud about how we represent Bastrop County. Again, I encourage you, print off a sample ballot, do your homework, do your research, evaluate your options when it comes to the candidates, make an informed decision, because again, local elections affect us the most. So again, visit bastropvotes.com for more information, and then thank you for being in attendance, for watching online, and have a very safe trip home.
Thank you, Bastrop. Y'all have a great night.